Oh, we've had a Tello disaster. There it is, look. And it's got a missing motor. Look at that. Snapped it straight off. It's come whizzing in, wham, straight into the side of the house. Got caught in a little bit of a side draft and boffed the wall, fell down and landed right funny on its motor at the back. It came down and hit the ground and it flew straight out. So I've ordered some new motors, got them off of eBay from China, so I've got to wait a few days for them to come. So we've got a bag of these, and it took a month for these to arrive. It's been a bit slow, but they really do look good. The one noticeable difference is that the shaft is slightly shorter. I can get the bag open. They took a month to arrive, but look at them little fellas. They are absolutely Bobby Dazzler. They've got good magnets in them. 2, 3, 4. Now then, the colours on the wires are different. We've got 2 going anti-clockwise and 2 going clockwise. Size-wise, we're talking they're almost identical, but like you can see, the shaft is slightly shorter on the new one. So we have the propeller. Now I've got a comparison here for the propellers as well. We've got 2 propellers. We've got an original and a Amazon one. So the Amazon propellers, they're slightly flimsier. They've got so the Ryze one, you can just hear the difference. Now let's try one of these on the new motor, just to make sure they are going to stick and stay in place. Yeah, I mean, they're nice and tight on there, so which is great. I've not pushed it all the way on because I've got to get it off again, but they are going to stick. They really are a good fit, which is great news. So yeah, it all looks good so far. Let's strip this Tello down. Let's get rid of these to start with. Let's pop them off. Okay, so that's the prop guards off. It's looking smaller already. This motor that came out, the original one that broke, it completely snapped. It came right out and the wires are still inside the body. So what we're going to have to do is to, I'm going to do this in a real good way, because I don't want to do what somebody had done where they put plugs on the bottom. It just looks hideous. So I want to try and get this back to as close to original as we can. So what I'm thinking, I'm going to strip it right down to the motherboard, and I'm going to feed the motor in. I've probably got to drill a couple of tiny holes in the bottom of the leg, and then I'm going to feed the new wires through to the motherboard and solder them in on the motherboard. So let's give it a crack and see if we can do it. I might fail miserably, but we're going to give it a go. So let's pop the battery out. Over there, we'll take the top case off, which is just fingers in the front, and just pull that out, and away she comes. So that's the top case off. Then we're left with the body, and you can just start to see the motherboard inside there. All I'm using for this is I've got a set of, these are the iPhone repair kit. You get these off of Amazon for a £5, eBay, Amazon, and you get a multitude of Torx screwdrivers and stuff in here. So I'm hoping with that and a couple of other bits, we're going to be able to get this stripped down. So we've got some small screws. There's 4 small screws in the base, and they're just normal crosshead screws. So it should be my little green one here. Let's go with that. Let's get that on there and just try taking those out. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was decided to come out straight away. 4. let's just tip those out. There we go, all 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all out of the way. Now that's the base disconnected. That should now just pull away with a bit of luck. Something's just sticking there. What would that be? Would I got to move it forward or something? So it's just this silicone-y glue here that is on the motor connectors has just touched the casing here and here, which has caused it to just be a bit difficult to get off, but that's away now. So that's another thing out of the way. Now we can actually see what we're looking for. Now this looks pretty good actually, looking at that. The wire comes down here. That looks like it's going underneath and coming back into this block connector here. So what I'm thinking there then, because that's all sealed up, I'm going to join, I think if I can join this wire in here and make a connection somewhere around the back. Okay, let's see if we can pull these wires through. Stop! It's at this point I make a massive error. Don't do the same thing. These 2 wires at the back, on the back legs, are the aerial wires. And I'm just about to snap one and break it. So these are not anything to do with the motor at all. The motor wires run down the front of the rear legs. So these 2 that run down the front, there's a black wire, and below the black wire is the white wire, and that's as 2 motor wires, and they just pull clean out with the motor. Now my motors have broken away. That motor had broken away. If your motor's intact and still in the leg and it is just a failed motor, grab hold of it with a pair of pliers and just pull it straight out. Obviously you just have to remove the wire, just pull it and cut it first, otherwise it'll snap it off. But yeah, so these do come out, they just pull out with a pair of pliers. They're quite tough, but they do come away. But do not break these ones. Inside these rear legs, there's a winding, which is the aerial. So inside the 2 rear legs are aerials, and these are the aerial wires. Don't break them. Carry on. So if I just try to lift those away, there, that's one. And then the second one is a little bit more tricky to get at. There it is. So 1 out there, 2 out there. So there we have the 2 wires. Now if I can pull those back through from the motor, because they aren't tight. Let's get some little pliers there. Ah, don't do it. No, don't pull it. The aerial wire, don't break it. Oh, no. Oh my God. That snapped off actually. That's just broke. So they're really, oh, that one's loose. So I can see daylight through that one. Here we go. Hang on a minute. Despair. No, he's just realised what he's done. Oh, look at his face. He's so upset. He can't believe what he's just done. Broke the aerial wire. Goodness me, I broke the aerial wire. Mind you, nothing we can't repair. That isn't a motor wire. That's an aerial wire. Oh, what an idiot. Well, there's a lesson to be learned. I wonder if that's going to affect the range on this one then. Right then, so what we have is motor wires then are all these ones here, and you can just see below there there's another one feeding, the white one feeding down there. So that's what I've got to try and get out. Oh dear, I can't believe I've just done that. There it is, look. Oh, look. Okay, and that's straight out, look. So there we have it. Now what I'm going to do with these is, like I said, I'm not going to join them up there because that's removing all the silicone and messing about. I'm going to join in down this end. I'm going to bring them in here and then try and just bring them in underneath the cover. And this one is black and white. So the wires, we've got black and white wires, which means it's this fella here. So this is what we're going to use. So when we're putting that in, I think we'll have to do one at a time, which is there it is there. So there's one of them. Two. There we go. So there's just two new wires going in there. And if that's going to have to go with... So all we've got to do is make sure we get that in so the wires don't get trapped in the little cavity at the bottom. So they've just got to sit in there and go down at that angle there. And push that in, that's really tight. Oh, that's all the way home, that. So let's just do a quick comparison on the other one. If I just measure from there to there with my nail and then just check it on that one to the butt to there, and that's definitely gone all the way in, which is great news. Right then, so let's feed these wires back down this channel. That little screw, I've got to be careful not to damage the wires. Just push them down there. There's one in. And we'll have to just drop a little bit of super glue or something on this second one because that doesn't want to stay in the hole. But we can sort it out when we get around there in a minute. So everything wants to be that length, just there. There's his length. Now I've just got to join these wires up on the ends. We need a little bit off the end. I might have to use a pair of pliers to grab it. There's one, two, three, four. That looks pretty good. That's one. Two. I've got a tiny bit of tape around each one of them. Right then, so can we now tuck that down the back there, out the way of everything? I think we can, because we've got plenty of space under there. And we'll try and get the lid back on. So we've got the wires tucked in around the back, and then we'll try and just drop that lid in, avoiding trapping it. That looks pretty good. We'll buff them screws back in. And that's the base all back in. So I'm going with just a tiny bit of super glue just to go across the gap there. That's 1, 2, 3. But looking at that now, you wouldn't know there's any difference to one of the others. It looks exactly the same. So let's get the top back on. Drop a battery in. Let's put a couple of propellers on. So opposites, that one's the original. That's that one on. And then we've got his Amazon propeller here to go on the new. Right, that one's got a bit of a bent end on it. That's took some damage, but we're not too fussy about that. Okay, let's try turning it on. See if we get the failed light, or if it's going to be okay. So it's gone green to start with. It's flashing green, flashing red. What's it doing? Let's try and see if we're getting any Wi-Fi signal off it. Tello, go through the calibration process. Switch it off, switch it on. Oh, it's looking good, looking good. Is it going to hit that when I take it off? Let's have a look. Hey, she's back. Oops, is it? Oh, look at that! I've just that new propeller. I've just bashed it straight into the thing, and it snapped the end off. Oh, was that the old? Oh, that was the old one that was broken. That's not the new one. I beg your pardon. slagging off the Amazon propellers. That's the one that had got that piece missing off the end. Let me stick another one on there. This is out of this bag of Amazon goodies. Fancy crashing it as soon as I took it off. And this one is a normal one. Oh, it's tight. Right. Let's try again. Well, it seems to like the new motor. That's working a treat, look at that. So, eBay motor, all fitted. I was just going to do a range test on it now, just to see, because that wire, the aerial wire, how much difference has that made to it, taking, you know, having that broken, but I don't know. Let's see, let's take it outside and see how it goes. So when I broke the wire on the aerial leg there, it considerably reduced the distance that this could fly. After it got about 20 feet, it lost connection. So I managed to rejoin it, which was a bit tricky, but I've managed to do it, and it's all good and working again. So the repair has been an absolute success. The motors are brilliant. Really good job. Really pleased with it. So if that's been of any use to you, like and subscribe, and happy flying.